through the chair, I clearly understand the actions that are being taken here, and I think it's important to note that Miami-Dade County Public Schools is to be commended because legally we don't expel, we expel and provide a waiver. There are certain counties across the state of Florida that when you're out, and your parents have to figure it out. So we do have placements for those students in one of our alternative schools. Follow up with some degree of brevity relative to the build-up. I know that we have adopted the revised Code of Student Conduct. There was some ambiguity, some concerns relative to students being able to be suspended. And I want to say to those who are, like myself, social justice advocates, we want to make sure that there is no disparate treatment of certain groups of children in certain communities and certain schools. But the converse side of that is that when we allow certain students in certain communities and certain schools to disrupt the learning opportunities of other students who come to school every day, not carrying guns, but carrying books and pens and pencils and thesauruses and dictionaries, and they're coming ready to learn, respectful and responsible, then we have an obligation to protect those students and their rights to a quality education. So there are two sides to that coin. So I appreciated the district's position in terms of wanting to address the issue of overrepresentation, the oversuspension of certain groups. I think that's laudable. I think that's plausible. But I do think that we still have work to do relative to getting to the root causes. So there are two sides to that coin. So I appreciated the district's position in terms of wanting to address the issue of overrepresentation and the oversuspension of certain groups. I think that's laudable. I think that's plausible. But I do think that we still have work to do relative to getting to the root causes. And I have some questions and some commentary regarding that. So I think you have clarified that the Code of Student Conduct does provide a mechanism that students in schools can be suspended. So the notion that we do not suspend students has been debunked pursuant to our policy, our code of student conduct, and our pursuant to our policy, our code of student conduct, and our practices. I think the last revision required that principals notify the region when students are being suspended. But the notion that I get from parents that, my child is threatened, my child was bullied, teachers are saying students are being disrespectful, disruptive, and destructive, and there's nothing we can do about it. I do recall there are contractual provisions where teachers who are there to teach students have a right to have disruptive, disruly, and disrespectful students removed from their classrooms, that they do not have to suffer that kind of condition, neither do the other students in that classroom. I understand that process, but specifically at the elementary school level. So at the middle school level, it's very likely that we have the Success Center. It's very likely that we have the School Center for Specialized Instruction. That acronym is SCSI. Indoor suspension. But in elementary schools, based on certain age groups, we have neither. I understand that process, but specifically at the elementary school level. So at the middle school level, it's very likely that we have the Success Center. It's very likely that we have the School Center for Specialized Instruction. That acronym is SCSI. indoor suspension. But in elementary schools, based on certain age groups, we have neither. So a school an elementary school may not have an SCSI, and based on the age of the student, they are not eligible to attend the Success Center. So when we start looking at the root causes and allowing certain things to happen with our children, we want to address these at the earliest ages possible. Can you respond to some of the things that may have been contemplated, or what is in place, and the conundrum that an elementary school classroom teacher, an elementary school principal, quite frankly in some cases elementary school students and parents and stakeholders have to endure with an elementary school student who cannot go to cannot be removed, but the contract allows it, cannot be suspended, but the Code of Student Conduct allows it, cannot go to the Success Center because they're not at the appropriate age. And I think I understand that process, but specifically at the elementary school level. So at the middle school level, it's very likely that we have the Success Center. It's very likely that we have the School Center for Specialized Instruction. That acronym is SCSI, indoor suspension. And I think that is a real conundrum. I've heard from teachers who are frustrated. They're working day in and day out, but they seem to believe that they have no relief. But I want to put on the record that they do have relief. We have a Code of Student Conduct supported by board policy. We have a contractual agreement with the United Teachers of Dade, and we have certain provisions that are outlined in our own pupil progression plan and student services plan that speaks to response to intervention. So can you address that for me, and then I have a few other questions that I want to follow up with through the chair. Thank you.